will Bond kill Aston Martin? Some things go together, like fish and chips, gin and tonic, Laurel and Hardy, and Lennon and McCartney. James Bond and Aston Martin can be described as another iconic duo. 007 is a long-standing relationship with a luxury car company, and it was announced in June that the £1.5 million Valhalla will be Bond's choice of car in the next film, No Time to Die. But behind the scenes, there have been a few bumps in the road for Aston Martin, and the most recent Bond to be linked with the company has left investors shaken, not stirred. If you thought Goldfinger was a particularly nasty Bond baddie, this one could be even more dangerous and could spell the end for Aston Martin. Its name? Bond. Pick Bond. The difference is, this bond is a financial instrument that could decide the future of this much loved UK brand. Let me just say, I adore Aston Martins. I fell in love with the brand and the car in 2002 when I saw Pierce Brosnan cutting about in one and Die Another Day. I love them so much. Since then, I've owned 17 DB9s, 2 DBSs, 2 Vanquishes and a Vanquish S prior to my current car, a DBS Superleggera. You may remember my British Racing Green DB9 when I was a dragon on Dragon's Den. And you might remember that one of the reasons I was asked to be a dragon was because of my expertise in buying and selling underperforming companies. And I think we can all agree Aston Martin is certainly underperforming. Since its initial public offering in 2018, Aston Martin Lagonda has seen its share price plummet. From a high of £19.15, they slipped to £3.71 and have recovered slightly to £4.80 today. It's simply the latest instalment in the company's colourful history. Founded in 1913 by Lionel Martin and Robert Bamford, Aston Martin focused on racing cars and changed hands several times until tractor manufacturer David Brown bought it in 1947, and he lent his initials to new models. Teaming up with Bond and Goldfinger in 1964 took the company to a new iconic level. But even Bond's magic touch didn't ensure a smooth journey, and it hit trouble in the 70s and 80s, and Ford bought 75% in 1994, before selling it in March 2007. Chief Executive Andy Palmer has run the company since October 2014 and come up with a business plan to overhaul the company, which involved creating new models, cutting costs and ultimately floating the company on the stock market. This was done last year, and the firm estimated production for 2019 to be 7,100 to 7,300 cars. But in July, this estimate was reduced to 6,300 to 6,500 cars, and a pre-tax loss of £78.8 million was recorded for the first half of this year. Are alarm bells ringing yet? Palmer broke the golden rule of a business plan to underpromise and overdeliver, which spooked investors. So where does the Bond baddie fit into this? No, not Le Chiffre, the pick Bond. Well, Aston Martin borrowed $150 million at the hugely expensive rate of 12%, with the option to add an additional $100 million of borrowing to tide the company over until it launched the DBX. The second lot will carry a 15% interest rate and is conditional on the firm selling 1,400 models of the DBX. The loan is due for repayment in 2022. There are two things that jump out at me from this company's car crash finances. Check out the high interest rate. It's higher than the speedometer when Bond races through the Highlands in Skyfall in a vintage DB5. The other thing is, the interest isn't being paid on a regular basis. Part of the debt is structured as a payment-in-kind note, which means the interest is not paid regularly but rolled up and paid at maturity. Overall payments at the end of the term are higher. Why? Can Aston Martin not afford regular payments? And why do they need the money? Well, they've borrowed via a bond to fund the DBX launch. Let's take a closer look at the DBX. Aston Martin promised their first sports utility vehicle, which will rival the Lamborghini Urus and the Bentley Bentayga, will drive like a supercar. It will have a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 engine producing 550 bhp and will start rolling off the production lines in Wales next year. And the price tag a hefty £150,000 to £160,000. Panmure Gordon investment analyst Sanjay Jha fears that Aston Martin might have to price the DBX at a discount under the terms of the bond I mentioned earlier. That's right, the PIC bond. Imagine that. It's almost unthinkable that an iconic luxury brand like Aston Martin would cut prices to get the required number of car sales. But car launches are fickle, and going into the SUV market is a gamble. The whole brand is at risk. Only time will tell if buyers say Dr. No to the DBX. Is Aston Martin going to live or let die? Or perhaps the gamble will pay off and we will see that this is no time to die for our favourite luxury car maker. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Aston Martin is back in the fast lane soon. Before you go, can I quickly ask you to tap the subscribe button and notification bell on my YouTube channel, and that way you'll know whenever I upload new content.